Hare Krishna, thank you so much, devotees, for joining our Sunday Bhagavatam class. I will start with Jaya Madhava and then start with our discussion for today. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana, 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 Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana, Yamuna Tira Vana Chari, Yamuna Tira Vana Chari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana, Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana, Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana, Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Ram Sankirtan ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. This is
Hare
Vijay
Krishna
Lakshmi.
Mataji. Thank you, Mataji, for joining. Thank you so much. So good to see you.
Happy to see you.
Hare Krishna, good Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dhanyavad Pranam.
Krishna Pranam, Jai Prabhupada. Jai. So the verse for today, it's going to be two verses, 31st and 32nd. I can share my screen for the verses. Is the screen visible, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So the verse. Evam vidha kadanti nam sagirha purayoshitaam Nirikshena bhinandan samitena yajau harihi. Evam vidha gadanti nam sagira purayoshitam Nirikshena bhinandan samitena yajau harihi. Evam vidha gadanti nam sagira purayoshitam Nirikshena bhinandan sasmitena yajau harihi. Let me recite the verse.
Yevam vidagantinam sagira purayoshitam nirikshanena bhinandana sasmitena yayau hari. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Vijayalakshmi Mataji would like to try, Mataji?
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, we can't hear you, Mataji. I think it got cut off.
Nirishananena Nandanam Sasmitena Yayayu Harita Karhi.
Jai. Thank you so much,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Prabhu. Just
Thank you. Jai. Will the synonyms? Evam vidaha, in this way. Tadantinam, thus praying and talking about him. Saha, he, Lord. Giraha, of words. Yoshitam, of the ladies of the capital. Nirikshanena, by his grace of glancing over them. Abhinandan, and greeting them. Sa Smitena, with a smiling face. Yayau, departed. Harihi, the personality of Godhead. Translation. With the ladies of the capital, Hastinapur. While the ladies of the capital, Hastinapur, were greeting him and talking in this way, the Lord, smiling, accepted their good greetings and casting the grace of his glance over them, he departed from the city. Jai. So, this is the purport to this particular verse. So, I'll go to the next verse and then we'll take from there. Ajat Shatru Pritranam Gopithaya Madhaudushaha Parebhya Shankitha Snehat Prayunkta Chatur Anginam. Okay, we'll read 3 more times here. Ajat Shatru Pritranam Gopithaya Madhaudushaha Parebhya Shankitha Snehat Prayunkta Chatur Anginam. Ajata Shatru Pritranam Gopithaya Madhudushaha Parebhya Shankitha Snehat Prayunkta Chadur Anginim. Will anyone like to recite?
Yeah. Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopitaya Madhudvishaha Parebhyaha Sankitaha Snehat Prayunkta Chaturanginaim. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Else like to recite?
Ajata-shatru pratanam gopitaya madhudushaha paribhyaha sankitaha snehat prayukta chaturangini. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
again it is muted.
We can hear Mataji. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopitahya Madhu Dishaha Parebhyaha Sankitaha Snehat Prayuktra Chatur Anginam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, so I'll read the synonyms and translation and the purport also. Synonyms. Ajata Shatruhu, Maharaj Yudhishthir, who was no one's enemy. Pritanam, defensive forces. Gopi Thaya, for giving protection. Madhu Dushaha, of the enemy of Madhu, Sri Krishna. Parebhyaha, from others, enemies. Shankitaha, being afraid of. Snehat, out of affection. Prayunkta, engaged. Chatuhu Anginim, 4 defensive divisions. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Maharaj Yudhishthir, although no one's enemy, engaged 4 divisions of defense: horse, elephant, chariot, and army, to accompany Lord Krishna, the enemy of the Asuras, demons. The Maharaj did this because of the enemy and also out of affection for the Lord. Purport. Natural defensive measures are horses and elephants combined with chariots and men. Horses and elephants are trained to move to any part of the hills or forest and plains. The charioteers could fight with many horses and elephants by the strength of powerful arrows, even up to the standard of the Brahmastra, similar to modern atomic weapons. Maharaj Yudhishthir knew well that Krishna is everyone's friend and well-wisher, and yet there were asuras who were by nature enemies of the Lord. So out of fear of attack from others and out of affection also, he engaged all varieties of defensive forces as bodyguards of Lord Krishna. If required, Lord Krishna himself was sufficient to defend himself from the attack of others who counted the Lord as their enemy. But still, he accepted all the arrangements made by Maharaj Yudhishthir because he could not disobey the king, who was his elder cousin. The Lord plays a part of a subordinate in his transcendental sporting, and thus sometimes he puts himself in the care of Yashoda Mata for his protection in his so-called helplessness of childhood. This is a transcendental Leela or pastime of the Lord. The basic principle for all transcendental exchanges between the Lord and his devotees is exhibited to enjoy a transcendental bliss for which there is no comparison, even up to the level of Brahmananda. Jai. So we'll listen to the Mangalachan prayers and then we'll go from there. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Vena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Datati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shab Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sarvana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sarvana Lalita Shiv Shakhan Vitam Shab Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Mutnamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shachi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Pancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Shinmatham Svakatha Krishnam Punya Shabana Kirtanam Nidantastu Abhadrani Vidunoti Suratsitam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hey Krishna. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining for Sunday Srimad Bhagavatam class on Sunday. Okay. So today I'm in the temple right now for the morning services, and so yeah. So we have Kumar Prabhu with us in the temple, and so we saw these beautiful verses, very nice verses. The first verse does not have a purport, but the second one has. So I have basically very short time window to prepare for this class. So what I'm going to do is basically trying to read the purports of Srila Prabhupada from various places. Instead of me speaking anything, which already don't know anything, but based on the topic themes of the verse, I have extracted few relevant verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and trying to just convey that meaning, expound, so to say, not expound, basically just add on to that, embellishing that verse. So the first verse for today, just opening the verse. Okay, so here Krishna says that Evam vidha gadantinam, in this way means, in the previous words we have talked about, we've seen the ladies on the rooftops of the buildings when Krishna is departing to Dwarka. They're standing on the rooftops and they're talking to each other, amongst each other, and talking, praying, please. So we saw a few verses before. They're saying that though the queens of Dwarka are so amazing, so fortunate, but the cowherd girls, the gopis, their fortune cannot be even imagined, and they're praying, they are praising Krishna, Krishna's beauty, so many things they're talking about. And in this way, evam vidha gadantinam sa gira pura yoshitam. So gira means, by talking about in term of words, yoshitam means ladies, pura means place, where Jagannath Puri, right? Hastinapur means the city of Hastina, you could say, right? So pura yoshitam, the ladies, in this way, talking about Krishna. What happened? They're talking about, so of course when we talk about Krishna, when we say anything about, we glorify Krishna, we think about him, Krishna does, Krishna reciprocates. He will reciprocate. Ye thamam prapadyante tam tateva bhajameham. The way we approach Krishna, or the degree to which we approach Krishna reciprocates to the same degree. So they're talking with each other in different. Different people have different moods, right? Shantarati, Shantabhav. They have Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya. They are different moods. They see Krishna, right? So here Krishna, what is it? Niriksha. Niriksha means, we say glance, right? Nirikshanena, by his glancing. So he reciprocated with them by glancing over them. And Abhinandan, this is a very common Hindi word, so to say. Abhinandan is congratulate or greeting. How? Sasmitena, in a very smiling, smiling way. So he glanced over them and smiled. And in this way, Yayau Hari departed. Right? So Krishna smiled and glanced over them. So in this verse, in the commentary to this particular verse, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Krishna pleased the women who were in Shantarasi. That means they just want to glorify Krishna. They pleased those women with the Shantarati by glancing over them. Just looked a sidelong glance. And those with Madhurya Bhav, he pleased them with a smile. So Krishna, if you see here, Krishna does two things. Krishna does nirikshanena and sasmitena. Two things. Krishna does glancing and smiling. So Chakravarti Path says that by glancing, he pleased those women who were in the Shantaras. And by smile, he pleased those women who were in the Madhurya Bhav, in the loving mood. Okay. So, and in the next verse, what happens is that Maharaj Yudhishthir, when Krishna is departing, is very protective. Right? Maharaj Yudhishthir was elder, so whenever Krishna used to come, in front of him, he used to bow down, take blessings. That's what we do, right? What we do. So he's still thinking as his younger brother, right? Even though he knows Krishna has done so many wonderful things, but still, because the intense love for Krishna, he still thinks that he's younger brother, like younger brother. And for that, Krishna is, once Hastinapur is finished, beyond city limits, what happens? Something happens to them, the still so many envious people who can attack Krishna. So what will do? He sends 4 divisions, right, of chariot, of horses, chariots, men, right? Sends everyone together. You go guard Krishna till he reaches Dwarka and then come back. Right? Because be protective, right? And Krishna says, yep, no problem. Krishna doesn't need his protection. He gives protection to everyone. Right? So, but he still accepts this. He does not disobey. Why? Because the devotee, Yudhishthira Maharaj, did this out of love. And Krishna gladly accepts it. Right? So he accepts being subordinated by his devotees. He loves that. So there are 2 things which I will be talking about from these 2 verses. I will try to speak about. First one is the power of Krishna's smile. Okay, Krishna smiles, right? Krishna smiles. So the power of Krishna's smile and the rasa, which the how Krishna reciprocates with devotees. From I'm taking from these two verses, taking one point from each other, from each of them, and we'll try to expound out. We describe a little bit more on that. So, smile. There was a comedian. Her name is Phyllis Diller. She said that a smile is a curve that sets everything straight. I heard that's a very beautiful statement. A smile is a curve, it sets everything straight. When we smile, when we look at anyone with a smile, it is pleasing, right? Oh, the person is pleasing. Oh, very nice. Have a Hindi say hasmukh. A smiling face is we love to see. No one's allowed to see, with a sad face or a frowning face, right? So, our natural tendency to smile when we are pleased is because Krishna had a tendency. Krishna is always blissful. So we have the tendency to smile when we are pleased because Krishna has tendency. And I will try to explain, or so to say, discuss something about Krishna's smile with the acronym SMILE. SMILE. Okay. So S stands for sweet and satisfying. Krishna's smile is sweet and satisfying. So as I mentioned, I'll be quoting different verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita also in this regard. So in this regard, there's a beautiful verse in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 28th chapter, 31st verse. So basically this chapter is being, Kapil Muni is describing the form of the Paramatma, okay, and how to meditate on different limbs or different parts of the body of the Lord. Meditate on the knees. If you meditate on the knees, what happens? Meditate on the thighs. If you meditate on the thigh, what happens? In this way, he's describing different body parts of the Lord. And then here, he talks about Krishna's glance and smile. So he says that here, the yogis should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes. What is it for what? What reason? For they soothe the most fearful threefold agonies of his devotees. Tapa trayopasamanaya nishtam akshnaho. Tapa means burning. Right? His glances, accompanied by loving smiles, are full of abundant grace. So in the purport to this particular verse, Sri Prabhupada says, as long as one is in conditional life in the material body, it is natural that he will suffer from anxieties and agonies. Right? One cannot avoid the influence of material energy, right? Even when one is in transcendental plane. Sometimes disturbances come, but the agonies and anxieties of the devotees are at once mitigated when they think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his beautiful form or the smiling face of the Lord. So the smiling face, basically just look at the smiling face. So when devotees, I heard devotees say that, oh, there's so much agony what to do, but when they come in front of the Lord and just see the smiling face of the Lord, everything just goes away. That he takes away, Hari takes away all the agonies, pains. So the Lord bestows innumerable favors upon his devotee, and the greatest manifestation of his grace is his smiling face. Prabhupada says, the greatest manifestation of his grace is his smiling face, which is full of compassion for his pure devotee. And Chakravarti Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the smile represents all the sweetness of the Lord. All the sweetness of the Lord can be condensed in the smile of the Lord. Right? And the next verse, right? Kapil Muni goes next step further. He says, one with devotion steeped in love and affection, the yogi should meditate with the core of the heart upon the laughter of Lord Vishnu. The smile is done. Right? So Prabhupada says in the purport that after studying his smile very carefully, one should visualize, meditate upon the laughter of the Lord. Right? And Prabhupada says in this regard, in the same purport, same paragraph, the exceptional beauty of the laughter of Lord Vishnu is that when he smiles, his small teeth which resembles like what? The buds of jasmine flowers. Jasmine flowers are what? Which color? White. So when Krishna smiles, it's like buds of jasmine flowers, very white. And I just remembered, if you ever seen an extremely close-up photo of Shri Radha Raman, Vrindavan, you can see teeth. Though you won't find, teeth in deities. If you see extremely close-up photo of Radha Raman, you actually see teeth. He's smiling, a beautiful smile, and the teeth. So, which resembles the buds of jasmine flowers, at once become reddish, reflecting his rosy lips. The yogi is able to place the beautiful face of the Lord in the core of the heart. What will happen? He will be completely satisfied. Okay. In other words, when one is absorbed in seeing the beauty of the Lord within himself, the material attraction can no longer disturb him. So, what is one of the ways for us to detach, so to say, or not be attracted to material things? Right? If we try to detach ourselves from material things by our own endeavor, it's close to impossible, right? So we should give a higher taste, so to say, right? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Param dishtva nivartate." To rid ourselves of attraction to the lower taste, instead of endeavoring ourselves to get rid of that, we should attach ourselves to higher taste, whereby because of which the lower taste, attraction to lower taste will automatically go away. Right? So if we are able to meditate on the smiling face of Krishna, we'll be completely satisfied. Now, if you see this, talking about Paramatma, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, very nice, he says that the third anga of the ninefold bhakti process, well, the third anga is Smaranam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Consisting of meditation on the sweet form, qualities, pastimes of the Lord have been described. So he's talking about Ashtanga Yoga, meditation, right? Paramatma. But he's talking about the different limbs, beauty of the Lord. Why? To attract the great yogis and drown them in the ocean of bhakti ras. Because thinking about Krishna's pastimes, everything is bhakti yoga, smaranam. Right? So using Ashtanga Yoga as a means and describing the form of the Lord, the Kapila Muni is actually trying to attract the yogis to meditate on the Lord, and then because of which they were attracted to the Lord in bhakti ras. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while instructing Sri Sanatana Goswami in the Madhya Leela, he says, Krishnanga Madhurya Sindhu Sumadhuru Mukha Indu Ati Madhu Smita Sukirane. He says, the transcendental form of Lord Sri Krishna, Krishna Anga Madhurya Sindhu. The form of Krishna Anga, is compared to what? Madhurya Sindhu. Sindhu means ocean. The transcendental form of Lord Krishna is compared to an ocean. Su Madhura Mukha Indu, and particularly extraordinary, which is a moon above the ocean. Su Madhura Mukha Indu means moon. Okay, Su Madhura, even more taste, beautiful, is the face of the moon, basically. Ati Madhu Smita Sukirane, and the most beautiful, most sweet is what? Ati Madhu Smita Sukirane. Smita means, remember read the verse today. Sa Smitena. Smita means smile. So the translation is, the transcendental form of Lord Sri Krishna is compared to an ocean. A particularly extraordinary vision is a moon above the ocean. So when it moves above the ocean, it looks even beautiful. Right? Nice reflection on the surface of the water. This body of Krishna is like the ocean. The moon-like face is the best part. Right? On the moon-like face, the better is moon. And even more extraordinary vision is a smile on the face. Right? And then, very, very wonderful, I love this verse, is from Krishna Karnamrita by Bilbha Thakur. Madhuram Madhuram Vapurasya Vibhor Madhuram Madhuram Madaram Madhuram Madhugandhi Mradu Smitame Tadho Madhuram 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 Madhuram. This Madhuram Madhuram Vapurasya Vibhor. So here he's putting two Madhurams on the body, Vapu. Krishna's body is sweet and sweet. Then madhuram, madhuram, vadaram, madhuram. Of the body, vadaram, the face is what? Sweet, sweet, sweet. 3. And madhu gandhi mrdu smitame tadaho. But the beautiful smile of Krishna, just smiling is like very madhu gandh is like honey, smelling like honey. The smile is so enchanting. Bilamga Thakur says it's madhuram, 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 madhuram. 4 madhurams. So he glorifies Krishna's, the best part of Krishna's face is the smile of Krishna. Okay? And in the same Madhya-lila, again instructing Sri Sanatana Goswami, this set of 3 or 4 verses which beautifully describes, Mahaprabhu himself is describing Krishna's supremely glorifying Krishna's smile, basically. Beautiful verses. I'll just read the verse. Krishnanga lavanya pura madhura hoite sumadhura tate yei mukha sudhakara madhura hoite sumadhura taha hoite sumadhura tara yei smita josna bhara. This Krishna's body is a city of attractive features. Lavanya pura. And it is sweeter than sweet. Madhura hoite sumadhura. His face is, which is like the moon, is sweeter. Right? And this supremely sweet, gentle smile on the moon-like face is like rays of moonshine, the cooling effect, the most beautiful. Right? And then continuing says, the beauty of Krishna's smile is the sweetest feature of all. His smile is like a full moon that spreads its rays throughout the 3 worlds, which is Golok Vrindavan, the spiritual sky, Brahma, Vaikuntha planets, and Devi Dham, that is the material world. Thus, Krishna's shining beauty spreads in all 10 directions. Beautiful verse. Krishna, he's talking about Krishna's smile. And in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 8th chapter, basically where Lord Brahma is just born of the lotus flower. Okay? And he's looking what to do, what should be done. And finally, Lord appears in front of him. And he's describing Lord's form. In that, the 3rd canto, 8th chapter, 27th verse, it says, Mukhena lokarti harasmitena. It says, devotees, the distresses of devotees are vanquished. Hara, by what? Beautiful smile, smitena. The power of Krishna's smile is that it can vanquish the distress of his devotees. And Prabhupada says in the purport that devotional service to the Lord is very much obliging to him. See, Krishna is not obliged to anyone. When people do tapasya, austerities to different demigods, they're obliged to give the result. They cannot say, I don't want to come. No, if they are doing tapasya, they're obliged, they have to come and give benediction once the punishment is done. Hiranyakashipu, Brahma would say, let him die. I don't care about it. No, he had to come. Lord Shiva, I think for Bhaumasura, I think so. Oh no, Bhasmasura, I think so. Yeah, tapasya. He came, even though Lord Shiva knows what kind of person he is. Still, Ravana, he did a very gruesome tapasya in a very wicked way. He cut off his head and offered it to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva said, what are they doing? What do you want? Tell me. Stop all this nonsense. He had to come. He cannot not come. He's obliged to come to give the result. But Lord is not like that. He is not obliged. He is not bound by this. That, if I do, then you have to give me a result. No. But when devotees do devotional service to Krishna, Krishna becomes obliged. Because Krishna becomes in debt. Right? So there are many transcendentalists in different fields of spiritual activities, but devotional service to the Lord is very unique. So devotees do not ask anything from the Lord. Right? There is no anna bilashita shunyam, no any material desires, nothing, no desires, just pleasing Krishna is a desire. Even the most desirable liberation is fulfilled by devotees. Kapila Muni says that my devotees does not want any form of liberation, even if I give them. Even if I say I will give you salokya, samipya, sarupya, they say we don't want. Right? Thus, the Lord becomes a kind of debtor to the devotees, and he can only try to repay the devotees' service with what? With ever enchanting smile. Right? So Krishna's reciprocation with his devotees is just this one smile. And that's enough for the devotees also. Right? The devotees are ever satisfied by the smiling face of the Lord, and then they become enlivened. Unlike the Colgate smile of this world. We say, oh, Colgate smile. So, here people smile with so many different intentions. Smile outside, sounding angry inside. External appearance doesn't match internal feeling, the emotion many times. Right? But Krishna, when he smiles, just is enough. Right? So Krishna's smile is what? Sweet and satisfying. And then M. M stands for mystical or mesmerizing or maddening. Okay? Krishna's smile is mystical, mesmerizing or maddening. And in the first canto 8th chapter, Sutta Goswami, after Kunti Mani, composed her prayers all over. And Sutta Goswami is basically saying, the Lord, thus hearing the prayers of Kunti Devi, what happens? Composed in choice words for his glorification. The Lord mildly smiled, and the smile was as enchanting as its mystic power. The smile had a mystic power. Mystic means we cannot explain. Right? As a mystic power, just smiling of Krishna. Right? And in the 10th canto, the 39th verse, 39th chapter, 30th verse, is mentioned, Venum Pana Smita Kataksha Nirikshanena. Again, the word Nirikshanena, glancing, is mentioned here. And Kataksha, Kataksha means sidelong glance. Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam. Kripa Kataksha means just give a sidelong glance. Just look like this. Not even straight. Just look like this, that's also enough. That's Kataksha. Right? So he says, as he played his flute, the gopis are saying basically, this chapter is basically Akrura is taking Krishna away. End of the Braj pastimes. And the gopis are in anxiety, in separation. And in his saying that, as he played his flute, he would captivate our mind with his smiling sidelong glances. Enchanting, mesmerizing, maddening. Just a smile is enough. We are just, fall down, we'll faint. We can't control. This is smile. Right? And in a very different, totally different, way of seeing looking at Krishna's smile. The second canto, the first chapter, 31st verse, it says, Dramshtra Yamaha Sneha Kala Dujani Haso Janmo Mada Karicha Maya. So he says, Dramshtra Yama. Dramshtra means teeth. The art of affection is a set of teeth. Very, 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 strange. The art of affection is a set of teeth. It's mentioned as Yama, a death. And Sneha Kala Dujani, Haso Janmo Mada. It says, and the most alluring, illusory material energy is his smile. So anything enchanting in this world is Krishna's representation. And 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also. But a small part, but anything enchanting is Krishna's manifestation. So the illusory energy also is very enchanting. That's why we are stuck here. The illusory material world is also very enchanting, very, very captivating. Right? That's why we are still stuck. Right? And that is being compared to as Krishna's smile. So it says the most alluring, illusory material energy is his smile. So different parts or different things have been compared to Krishna's body. Krishna's body is like this like that, this like this, bones are like mountains and stuff. His smile is like the illusory material energy. When Krishna smiles, people just fall. Because Gopi mentioned the captivate, right? So the material energy is like as captivating as Krishna's smile is for devotees. Okay? The material energy is as captivating for the Baddha Jiva, Nitya Baddhas, the conditioned living beings, as it is captivating for pure devotees. Krishna smile. Hopefully that makes, hopefully if it came out correct. Right? And another beautiful thing is the power of Cupid. Right? We know Kamadev is one of the strongest players in town, in the world. Right? Everything falls flat in front of Kamadev. Nothing stronger than him. Right? But Krishna's smile mesmerizes and maddens Cupid himself. And how do you know that? In Srimad Bhagavatam again, 10th canto, 32nd chapter. This is one of the Rasa Panchadhyaya, second last chapter of Rasa Panchadhyaya. Second verse, it says, Tasam avirabhuk shauri Smayamana mukhambuja pitambara dhara sargvi sakshan manmatha. Right? It says, so actually this word, if you see the word, is shauri. Shauri means what? Veera. Right? Very, Kshatriya is called shauri, the brave person. So here Sukadeva Goswami is basically giving sarcastic remark. Sukadeva Goswami is basically, so this chapter is basically the reunion. Right? So Krishna left the gopis are carrying separation, the Gopi Geet, previous chapter. And then Krishna has come back now. Right? And in this, when now Krishna is coming back, after making the gopis cry, oh, now the brave person has come. So basically, Sukadeva Goswami is putting a sarcastic remark on Krishna. Because Sukadeva Goswami is taking side of the gopis. And he says that, if you see the last word, Sakshat Manmatha. Sakshat means Sakshat, the person who came, Manmatha. Man means the mind, Matha means churning. Right? So Manmatha is like the Cupid. Manmatha also means Cupid. So Manmatha. Right? So he says the Lord Krishna, right, bewilders the mind. The one who bewilders the mind is Cupid, and Krishna is compared to that, Cupid, so to say. So then Lord Krishna, a smile on his lotus face, appeared before the gopis, wearing a garland and a yellow garment. He directly appeared as one who can bewilder the mind of Cupid. He can manmatha of manmatha. Right? He can bewilder the mind of one who bewilders others' mind. Right? So Krishna can bewilder the mind of Cupid himself. Of that Cupid which bewilders everyone's mind, Krishna can bewilder the mind. Right? So Chakravarti says, as I mentioned, that the gopis are suffering and Krishna comes at the very end, like VIP. And Sukadeva Goswami gives a taunt, sarcastic remark. Right? So Shri Jiva Goswami in his commentary says that Krishna is a Cupid for these Cupids, all Cupids. Okay? So that is M, mesmerizing, maddening, or mystical. Right? I would be inspirational. Krishna's smile inspires devotees. Right? So those Vishnu forms, by the pure smiling, right, which resemble the increasing light of the moon. So in Srimad Bhagavatam it says that Krishna's smile, right, inspires devotees to perform devotional service. Actually, this comes in the 13th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. I think, if I remember correctly, it's the last verse which Prabhupada translated and give purport to. Okay. So what is this? What does it say? As maintainers, Krishna as a maintainer, or Lord Vishnu forms, they glance upon the devotees, embracing them and protecting them by smiling. So just by protecting them, just smiling, the Lord protects and embraces the devotees. It doesn't have to use the hands. Just by smiling itself, the devotees can feel that they have protection by the Lord. And their smile resembles the mode of goodness, protecting all desires of the devotees. Right? So Jiva Goswami says in this regard, the Lord glanced for fulfilling the desires of devotees. So the devotees, they don't have any other desires excepting serving Krishna. Right? So to generate variegatedness in the in the desires of devotees, so devotees want to serve Krishna in different ways. So who gives inspiration? The Lord, by smile, inspire devotees to create variegated desires to serve Krishna. So I'll just read the part of the purport. It is very difficult to maintain spiritual desires. Right? We want to serve Krishna, but it's very difficult to maintain that. Consistency is very difficult. So because we're bombarded with innumerable, material objects, material desires, so many, senses are being bombarded with so many things. So we need Krishna's grace to maintain our spiritual desires to serve Krishna and devotees. And the glance of Lord Vishnu creates the desires of the devotees, as mentioned in this particular verse, 10th canto, 13th chapter. Right? The glance of Lord Vishnu creates the desires of the devotees. A pure devotee has no desires actually. Annabhlasha Shunyam, no material desires. The Sanatana Goswami comments that because the desires of devotees whose attention is fixed on Krishna have already been fulfilled. Devotees don't have any desires, they have already been fulfilled, all desires have been fulfilled. The Lord's sidelong glances create variegated desires in relation to Krishna and devotional service. Just by Krishna's smile, Krishna's glance, so many different desires come up in the devotee's heart to serve Krishna, not for them. Right? And Prabhupada says at the very end of the purport, he talks about himself. He says, in Vrindavan, there is a place where there is no temple, but a devotee desired. Let there be a temple and seva, devotional service. Therefore, what was once an empty corner has now become a place of pilgrimage. Such are the desires of a devotee. Who's talking about? Himself. Raman Reti, Krishna Balram temple, is nothing there previously. Right? So Prabhupada desired, let there be a temple here, I want a temple here. And Krishna, that desire came from whom? From Krishna's loving glance. And then it appeared. Right? To go to desire, much desire, just to please Krishna. And to please Krishna in what way? Different ways. That is generated by Krishna's loving glance. Let's talk about this particular verse. Right? So S is satisfying, sweet. M is mesmerizing, mystical, maddening. I is inspirational, because just by smile, the devotees become inspired to serve Krishna in various ways. Okay? L is loving. Krishna's smile is very loving. In the first canto, 16th chapter, 35th verse, the verse says, he could conquer the gravity and passionate wrath of his sweethearts like Satyabhama by a sweet smile of love, pleasing glance and hearty appeals. Just imagine, Satyabhama is known to be very feisty, very, she gets angry really quick, right? So Krishna can control her, so to say, and could pacify her. Such a passionate and such very possessive Satyabhama just by his loving smile. Just by his smile, he can please with Satyabhama. Right? So the Lord bestows innumerable favors upon this devotee, and the greatest manifestation, as I mentioned before, is his smiling face. Right? And Prabhupada says that the smiling face of Lord Vishnu is pleasing to the whole world, not just the devotees, but the non-devotees. Krishna's smile is beautiful. So now, I talked about that particular, that is done, right? Now, the E part. Or before that, I have something to share. Okay. So, as I mentioned about L loving, right? I was just hearing, actually, yesterday I was listening to one class, and I heard about this particular, that's why I added this now. This comes in the 81st chapter of 10th canto, Pastime of Sudama, basically. So, Sudama comes in front of Krishna, right? And Krishna knows what is going on, what he has. So, the second verse, the second verse says this, translation. Lord Hari, Krishna perfectly knows the heart of all living beings, and especially devoted to the Brahmanas. While the Supreme Lord, the goal of all saintly persons, conversed in this way with the best of his twice born, he laughed and spoke following words to dear friend, all the while smiling and looking upon him with affection. Right? Always he's looking at Sudama with full smile and affection. And the commentary, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami says that, Jiva Goswami is basically decoding what is Krishna's glance, what was Krishna telling by his glance. The veins showing pure emaciated skin. So it was very, very thin, right? It was emaciated basically. And your ragged clothes astonish everyone present. But these symptoms of poverty will only last until tomorrow morning. So Krishna is just looking at Sudama, right? He has, Prabhupada here with him. But Krishna is smiling. But what does smile mean? Oh, you are like this in this condition, very emaciated, poverty stricken. They only last tomorrow morning. Aaj sab kuch khatam ho jayega. That is loving, very loving. Krishna's glance, smile is very loving. Right? So the last part is now extinguishing. Extinguishing what? Right? As I mentioned, 3.28.32. Hasam harer avanitakhira loka tivra sokashru sagara vishodanam atyudharam. It says yogis to meditate on the most benevolent smile of the Lord Hari. The same Kapila Muni is saying. Why should one meditate on a smile? A smile of which, for all those who bow to him, dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. When we meditate on the Lord's smile, when the Lord smiles at us, what happens? It dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. Okay, so that's one of the extinguishing part. Okay, so that is the first part I mentioned. I want to talk about two verses. The first verse was about Krishna's smile. What does Krishna's smile mean? So not mean so many things. In acronym form, SMILE. Right? That's with regard to 31st verse. In 32nd verse, Prabhupada says in the Maharaj Yudhishthir knew well that Krishna is everyone's friend and well-wisher. Bhoktaram Vikasapsam Sarvalokam Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. Suhridam is a benefactor, well-wisher of not just humans, Sarvabhutanam, of all living beings. Right? But people who are good, and what happens to them? Those who understand Krishna in this way, the Bhoktaram of Yagya Tapasa, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, one who understands Krishna in these aspects, what happens? Nyatma Mam Shantim Rachati, they attain peace. When they attain peace, they attain happiness also. Right? So, but people who don't understand, or they don't understand this particular, or they don't see Krishna in this way, they remain unhappy and become enemies of Krishna. And Prabhupada says in the purport, the second verse, that one of the reasons Maharaj Yudhishthir sent all these troops was there are many envious people of Krishna. Many envious people, enemies of Krishna basically, and they may attack at any point of time. To save or protect Krishna, he sent all the troops, right? So, the purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita, 23rd chapter, verse number 117, 118, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing who? Sri Sanatana Goswami. And he's saying, I'm going to read the purport, part of the purport at least. Due to envy, many asuras describe Krishna to be like a black crow or an incarnation of a hare. Hare means H-A-I-R, not H-A-R-E, H-A-I-R, hair, black hair. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami how to counteract all these asuric explanations of Krishna. The word Kaka means crow and Kesha means hair. The asuras describe Krishna as an incarnation of a crow, an incarnation of a Shudra, a blackish tribe, and an incarnation of a hare, not knowing that the word Kesha can also mean Ka Isha. The Ka means Lord Brahma, and Isha means the Lord. Who is the Lord of Brahma? Is Kesha. Right? So Kesha can also mean hare, can also mean the Lord of Brahma. Thus, the word Kesha indicates that Krishna is the Lord of Lord Brahma. Some of Lord Krishna's pastimes are mentioned in the Mahabharata as Maushala Leela. Maushala basically means the living of Krishna. Right? Krishna departs the world. These include the histories of the destruction of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna's disappearance, his being pierced by hunter's arrow, the story of Krishna's being an incarnation of a piece of hair, as well as Mahishi Haran, kidnapping the queens, 16,000 queens. Then, but the Mahaprabhu says, actually these are not factual, but are related for the bewilderment of the asuras. So these are mentioned in Mahabharata. The Krishna incarnation of a hare, all this stuff. But Prabhupada says that these are not factual. These are related for the bewilderment of the asuras. Just like Mahaprabhu says, Krishna's soul was pierced by the arrows, and that's why he just left. He died. All this stuff. People say that, oh, see, Krishna died by arrow getting pierced on his leg, on his soul. Like, what? At least use some logic. He was in the Kurukshetra battle in front of Arjuna, the center point of everyone, and he's still alive. Arrows are just showering, and people, the warriors, used to kill at least try to kill the driver first, because if the driver is not there, it's like one place, sitting duck. right? Nothing happened to Krishna all the time, but that because of one arrow on his feet, lotus feet, died. Doesn't make logically doesn't make sense, right? But this mentioned in Mahabharata, but for what? For the bewilderment of the asuras who want to prove Krishna who want to prove that Krishna is an ordinary human being, right? They are false in the sense that these pastimes are not eternal, nor they are transcendental or spiritual. There are many people who by nature averse to supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are naturally averse. How Krishna? Why is Krishna? Why is Krishna to be supreme? Who is Krishna? They have some enviousness towards Krishna, right? Such people are called as asuras. They have mistaken ideas about Krishna. And as stated in Bhagavad Gita, the asuras are given, 16th chapter, the asuras are given chance to forget Krishna more and more birth after birth. Right? They make their appearance in a family of asuras and continue this process, being kept in bewilderment of Krishna. Krishna, you want like this? Okay, let it be like this. Those enemies of Krishna. Right? And Krishna Prabhupada says, Dvesha means envy. When one becomes envious of Krishna, one thinks what? But should Krishna be the all and all? I am as good as Krishna. People say, why do Krishna Last Leela? Hum bhi kar sakte. We can't do Last Leela. People try to imitate Krishna because of being envious of Krishna. Right? So these two items, what? Desire to be the Lord and the envy of the Lord. They want to become the Lord first, and they want to become the envy of the Lord, envious of the Lord, are the beginning of the cause of material bondage. Right? So Prabhupada extends beautifully, it says many things about being envy of Krishna, what happens. And being, sending so many soldiers, Krishna could not stop, disobey the king. Why? He is also showing how to be, he's a king, right? We should obey the king, so to say. And he's subordinate, he's a younger brother. So we should listen to elder brother. So he's just like Bhagavad Gita says, Jad acharati sheshas. Just like a big, big person follows does something, the common men follow. Right? We have Shah Rukh Khan, we have Virat Kohli, take the one hairstyle. Within 7 days, you will see people walk on the street with the hairstyle. Right? People following them. Right? So Krishna is showing how to act. Right? So the Lord plays the part of a subordinate. Right? And when he gives himself, places himself in the care of Mother Yashoda when there's in danger. Right? When Krishna is a baby, the lightning comes or thunder, he immediately go behind holding sari of Mother Yashoda, being afraid, trying to seek protection from Mother Yashoda. The one who gives protection to everyone is seeking protection. Right? So when after Putra pastime, Mother Yashoda, when they got Krishna back, they sent all this, they took cow dung, like this, to keep protection to Krishna. Beautiful verses, may your head be protected by this, may your leg be protected by this. There are so many things. Protect Krishna, there's so much loving. Right? Similarly, the cows, that in the forest there are many stones, right? Which can hurt our feet, right? And Krishna's feet are so soft. Just you can just touch and become red, like reddish, right? So soft. So the cows thought, oh no, if Krishna walks, he will get hurt. They with their hooves crushed all the stones to make it soft, like very, very soft. So when Krishna walks, Krishna should not get hurt. Right? So many passages where Krishna is putting himself like helpless, right? And seeking, and devotees protecting Krishna, so to say, right? So, so many particular ways, right? And the last part, Prabhupada says in the purport, the basic principle of all transcendental exchanges between the Lord and his devotees is exhibited to enjoy transcendental bliss, for which there is no comparison, even up to the level of Brahmananda. So Brahmananda means Ananda in Brahman. There is happiness in Brahman. There is happiness. But Sri Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasaval Sindhu, Prabhupada translates as, the summary study at Nectar of Devotion. The first chapter, in one of the characteristics of devotional service, there are 6 characteristics. In one of the characteristics, Rupa Goswami says that the happiness of becoming one with Supreme, right, if Brahmananda, or happiness of becoming one with Supreme, Brahmananda means liberating, merging with the Lord, is multiplied by 1 trillion fold. Brahmananda times 1 trillion. It still cannot compare to an atomic fraction of the happiness derived from the ocean of devotional service. The happiness in Brahman, multiply 1,000, 1 trillion. Still the result is not even a fraction compared to the happiness, bliss obtained in devotional service. That's how insignificant is Brahmananda. Basically, Rupa Swami says, right? And Prahlad Maharaj also, many questions are there. So, and these are the two verses. Basically, Krishna is departing from Hastinapur, going towards Dwarka, and now they're all just seeing Krishna go away. Next particular verses, they see Krishna go away from the horizon, right? So, yeah, thank you so much. I'm sorry for this, haphazard presentation. I could not get much time, for preparation. So please kindly forgive me for this very bad presentation. So you are wonderful devotees. If at all anything good came out of it, it's all the mercy of my Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. And anything bad, which I'm sure there is, if all my mistakes, so please do correct me, offer me suggestions, and I can improve. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Prabhu, what are you saying, Prabhu? You are saying that you have not prepared. So, if
No, Mataji.
the presentation is like this, if you
No,
have
no.
actually prepared, I cannot even imagine.
I'm
Prabhu.
just copy paste. That's what it is.
You have pointed out such a beautiful in the both the verses, Prabhu. I couldn't even imagine in the first verse. Actually, you could take the smile of Krishna and explain it very elaborately, very beautifully, Prabhu. Because what happened is when actually Premvardhan Prabhu asked me to exchange something swapping, then I thought I would say these verses. And I was thinking what to say for the first verse actually. Now actually you made me realize even in 2 sentences of translation, not even having purport of that, you can extract so much from that actually.
Yeah.
So it was always beautiful to hear about Krishna and his smile and his face.
Yeah,
Everything, and of course its smile is much more beautiful than the other these things, Prabhu. Thank you so much for bringing so many verses of his smile. Actually, I was astonishing. These many verses are explained about Krishna's smile. So
yeah.
very
Me too.
yeah, and moreover, the second part, finally you have concluded with that the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the discussion. I think which verse, Prabhu, you have told that Krishna's enemies, Asuras and Chaitanya.
Yeah, Madhis Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 23, Mantrila, chapter 23, verse 117, 118.
So this is a discussion between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
Sanatana Goswami.
Sanatana Goswami. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. That was actually very beautiful, very nice, and bringing up that point actually. Yeah. Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much. For a wonderful presentation, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madhi. Always Prabhupada. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, especially that Krishna's smiling and lovely face, and about that narration is very good and very attractive and happy to me. And you are very blessed. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paramkara Prabhu. You are very kind, Prabhu.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you, Vijayalakshmi Mataji, for the very nice, kind comments. Thank you so much, Paramkara Prabhu. You're extremely kind to say this.
Yeah. Before that, I don't know what that Krishna smile is very good, but after narration of you only, that is very clear to me about that. All people are fida to Krishna.
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
Krishna's smile has innumerable glories, of which I could not even talk about one drop.
Yeah.
One drop. But yeah, so much, so wonderful.
That is enough to pray. Everybody, Krishna's smile face, seeing, they forgot their the sorrows and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pankarapu. Thank you, Anita, thank you so much for kind comments. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll stop our discussion here for today. Thank you so much, everyone. Manchagal Patri Bishop, and the Koti Vaishnav